Hi everyone, my name is Ann Schreiber with the Schreiber Team and Compass, and I'm here this morning just to address a question I'm getting over and over and over and over and over again at every appointment I go on right now. And some of you that know me well know last week that 6,000 agents of the best agents from across the world actually were at the Tom Ferry Summit up in Anaheim. And we had a chance to meet with Steve Harney of Keeping Current Matters. And if you're not aware of who he is and you like real estate, he's somebody you should be following. He does real estate research pretty much all day long, every single day, and is one of the foremost authorities on real estate in the United States and in North America. Studies trends, consults, and advises real estate agents and consumers. And what I really like about him is the responsibility he feels to give great advice. So it's not just for show. It's not just to promote his show or his business. It really is. It does come from a place of wanting people to make good and wise decisions. So, what I wanted to talk today about was what he also touched on when we met with him last week, because of course last week, the stock market went nuts, and all of the headlines and everything, all the dialogue right now, especially with the upcoming election, is all about, are we headed for a recession? Is this going to be a housing crisis? And I can't go on one appointment with people that are either thinking about selling their home or considering purchasing a home without this question coming up. So I thought it was a really good time to address what is going on, what does this mean, and how can we interpret this to make the best decisions so that you're wise with your money and your investment. So are we headed for a recession? Everything that, you're seeing the same thing I am, and everything we're seeing is yes, we are definitely headed for a recession. And what's going to happen is half of the world is going to believe that the entire universe is falling apart, and half of the world, the greatest economy and opportunity that ever has been. And it doesn't really matter what side of the fence you lean on. I think what's important and what I want you to know as it relates to real estate is what recession means, and it doesn't always mean housing crisis. So of the last 5 recessions, only 2 of them have involved a negative shift to the real estate market. One was in 1991, where home prices fell by about 2%. And then, of course, we all have a visceral, granular memory of 2008, where home prices fell, as deep as 20% in some marketplaces. But of all the other last 5 recessions, real estate values actually went up. And I think that's what's important to really think about and think logically about why that happened. And we also have to talk about why the recession occurred. So in 2008, we all know that the recession occurred because of a melting mortgage market. That was a huge indication, and so many of those issues have been addressed, and no one that's predicting a recession believes that that's going to have any piece of the equation. Most of the people that believe we're headed towards a recession, they're talking about the reasons being like trade war or a stock market adjustment or a geopolitical event. Real estate is like number 9 on the list in terms of why we would be headed towards a recession. So those conditions don't exist. And the issue is, why? So why would real estate prices go up during a recession? Well, that's because when the stock market goes down, people take their money out and they make the most stable and wisest investment decision there is on the planet, which is real estate. Makes perfect sense. And so in 1991, that was 1991 and 2008 were the 2 recessions where it actually impacted the real estate market. The other 3, the real estate market went up as much as 7%. And that is what I've been hearing for the last 4 to 5 years, that they expect a stabilization. We're not going to have like 10% increases in value year over year. There's going to be a stabilization. There's going to be a normal market. And at times markets will pick up, but in general through the recession, we should expect, up to a maximum of about a 7% increase in value in real estate. So just keep the big picture. A recession can be an opportunity in real estate. And I think that, what I want people to know is the way I would talk to my brother or my parents or any of my dear friends is that, you may want to turn off the news until the election's over, because it's just going to be all cataclysmic, horrible news while they try to position and one half of the world is saying one thing and the other half of the world is saying another thing. And what are they really saying? Not much. I think that, one thing to really remember is that millionaires are made during a recession. And so, there's a way that you can also really look at this in an opportunistic way, in that, if home values go down, hey, hot damn, that's great. Like, that's the time that you may want to be, while the other half of the world is completely freaking out, that may be a time where, you elect to pull monies from somewhere else that isn't performing and invest in an investment property for yourself or for a kid going off to college. If you research the most stable and wealthy people in your area, they all took opportunities during recessions, and that's what we're headed towards. So the other big thing that Steve Harney stated is that we're in the longest economic recovery in American history. And what ends a recovery is an economic slowdown. And so, all the predictions state we are going towards a recession, but again, remembering that an economic slowdown does not equate to a housing crisis. And I think because we all have such a visceral and painful memory of 2008, and there were so many people trapped in homes and relationships they wanted to get out of because they couldn't sell their home. And, that was a really, really tough time. But that was one very extreme example of 5 past recessions where nothing like that happened. In fact, only one other had a pullback in housing prices in 1991. It was only about 2%. And then again, the other 3 had an increase in real estate value. So let me know what you think. It's hard to argue with the data. And I would say, based on my own experience, that this is also what I'm seeing. I think people are very hyper reactive to news. And the funniest thing is that they'll be, I'll meet with someone that's either going to write an offer, considering accepting an offer, and they're like, well, I saw on the national news tonight, blah, blah, blah. But they don't remember that the national news reflects data that's from the month past or the one before that by the time it's gathered and delivered. And it's national, so it doesn't necessarily apply to the pocket market that they're in. And that's why it's so important to have someone that you trust that's really going to guide you. I feel, and again, back to Steve Harney, he's like, you have a moral imperative to guide your clients. This isn't just a job. This isn't just a responsibility. This is like your moral imperative to guide people to make wise decisions. And I really do feel that way when someone asks me, hey, is this a good idea? Should I go up higher in my offer price? Should we accept this offer? I really am thinking, like, not just for the short term and getting them whatever their short-term goal is, selling the house or going, but like, is this a wise decision? Hey, Jennifer, thanks for joining. Is this a wise decision long-term for their lives and retaining as much money as they can, their hard-earned money? So again, I'd like to hear what you think. My opinion is we are not headed towards a housing crisis because there's just too much data to support that we're not. All of the experts do state we are headed towards a recession, but I think for most people, oh, thank you, Jennifer. I think that most people can see that, if you've been saving your pennies, and even if you haven't, that looking for opportunities during a recession is really when you can pivot to the next level economically. That's where the opportunities are. They don't exist when everything is escalating rapidly. The real opportunities come during down times. Okay, let me know what you think, and I'm curious what everybody is how they're gonna feel about this analysis. And I strongly encourage you to go to Keeping Current Matters. Again, the expert's name is Steve Harney, and all of this data comes from him. There's a really great chart on there that shows the last 5 recessions and how it affected the housing market, or didn't affect the housing market, or affected the housing market positively. And I'd like to hear your feedback. So have an awesome day, and I look forward to talking to you soon. And of course, to understand our consult, I just had a conversation like this last night with a client. Please call us. We're always happy to give you up-to-the-minute information, and because we do carry a lot of inventory, and we do a larger amount of volume of transactions than the average real estate agent that only sells 3 to 5 homes a year. We have a lot of information and knowledge about what's currently going on in the market, how people are negotiating, how they're showing up, what the showings are like, and how to position your home. I look forward to talking to you soon. Ann Schreiber with the Schreiber Team, and Compass 858-367-8471. Thanks, Jennifer. What did you say? Killing it with your Leo Roar event on your birthday. I love you, Jen Davies. Have a good one. Bye, everybody.